Robin by Catherine Storr. Chapter 1. Youngest. The family lived in a large old house just above the sea. There were father, mother, and 3 children: Jonathan, Miranda, and Robin. Robin was the youngest, and he hated being it. People sometimes said, "The youngest, aren't you lucky? How the others must spoil you." But it wasn't at all like that. Jonathan and Miranda didn't spoil him, and they did make him feel very young. They had done everything before he ever got there. At cricket, Miranda could bowl overarm, while Robin was still throwing underarm. Jonathan and Miranda were being taught to jump ponies, while Robin was learning to trot. Jonathan and Miranda stayed up to supper on Saturday evenings, when Robin was sent to bed. They had been everywhere, climbed all the trees, explored the caves, heard the jokes, read the books, before Robin had got anywhere. When they felt kind, they told Robin he did something well for his age. When they felt unkind, which was fairly often, they said he was behaving like a baby. "Isn't there anything I can do better than them?" Robin asked his mother in despair. "You can draw better than either Jonathan or Miranda could at your age." "Not at my age. Isn't there anything I do better than they do now?" "You're tidier than Jonathan. You can whistle better than Miranda," his mother said. "But being tidy doesn't matter. Jonathan doesn't want to be tidy. I wish there was some magic that could make me better at something than both of them are. Couldn't there be some magic, Mother?" "Robin's a baby. He still believes in magic," Miranda said, hearing the last sentence. "I don't," Robin said. But it was not true. He couldn't help thinking that there might be some sort of magic, if only he could find it. It wasn't the magic of fairies or of Peter Pan or dragons or princes and princesses. It was the magic that he might find suddenly one day when he wasn't expecting it. A ring that could give wishes, a carpet that took you wherever you wanted to go, a purse which could never be emptied. It would be some quite ordinary-looking thing, which would turn out not to be ordinary at all. Jonathan didn't need any magic. He was clever and strong and brave, and he could do all the things he wanted to without finding that someone else had done them better first. Miranda never thought about magic. She was far too busy with the things to do with being a girl. But Robin needed something extra, and he could feel in his bones that there must be magic about. Chapter 2. The Carpet and the Ring. Secretly, so that the others shouldn't laugh and talk about babies, Robin looked for magic. A new carpet appeared in the sitting room. It was new to Robin's family, but not to the world. It had been made in Persia. Robin's uncle, who brought it, said it was more than 100 years old. It had 6 borders, each with a different pattern, and in the middle of it was a pale pinky gold with darker medallions. It was small and silky and beautiful like a Persian cat. Robin loved it. "Stand this end, Robin," said his Uncle John. Robin looked, and the carpet was silvery pale like the inside of a shell. But when he looked from the other end of the carpet, it was dark honey gold. "Magical, isn't it?" his uncle said. "You wouldn't believe it was the same carpet." "Is it magic? Is this the magic carpet? Robin wondered. But he knew better than to ask. He waited in the sitting room till there was nobody to see him. And then he lay on the carpet and put his face on the smooth fibres. "Take me to the South Pole," he said. Jonathan was always talking about the South Pole, but he had never been there. Robin shut his eyes. The carpet moved very smoothly. Robin wouldn't have known he was travelling at all. If he looked down, he would see the world below him. The dark sea, the sandy deserts, tropical islands fringed with palms, the snowy wastes. It was getting colder. Would the carpet provide him with an Eskimo suit of fur before he arrived at the pole? There were icebergs in the sea. The sun was dazzling on the white world. He opened his eyes. The sunshine poured through the windows of the sitting room onto the polished wooden floor and the shabby chairs, onto the 4 pale walls and the empty grate. The little gilt clock on the mantelpiece said loudly, tick-tock, tick-tock. It had been saying it all the time. The carpet had not moved. It lay bathed in the sunlight, glowing, a jewel among carpets. But it was not a magic one. Robin stood up. "Even if you're not magic, you are beautiful," he said silently to the carpet. He stroked it. Like the Persian cat it resembled, its fur felt smoother in one direction than the other. But it did not purr. "I shall find magic somewhere," Robin said. His mother had a ring. Among all her other rings, this was the one from which Robin hoped most. She had a plain gold one which she wore every day, another with one big blue stone, another which had little red stones all the way round. But when his mother opened her jewellery box, the ring Robin chose to look at was carved all in one piece from a single stone. It had a narrower band which encircled the finger, and on top it was thicker, oval, embossed. The ring was tawny yellow, the carved part a little darker, the colour of the best sort of marmalade, smooth, not cold like the rings of gold or silver. "You do love my amber ring," Robin's mother said to him. "Amber? What's amber?" "It's a gum. It's what the ring is made of." Amber. It was a beautiful word. "Look, I'll show you something," Robin's mother said. She took a silk scarf out of a drawer. "Rub the ring on that scarf as hard as you can." "Why, is it magic? Is it like Aladdin's lamp?" "Not quite. I'll show you." While Robin rubbed, his mother tore a piece of tissue paper into tiny shreds, smaller than snowflakes. She dropped them on her dressing table. "Now, Robin, hold the ring over the pieces of paper." The ring was warm with rubbing. When Robin held it close over the scraps of paper, they rose through the air and stuck to the ring. "It's like a magnet. It is magic," Robin said. He brushed the paper off. It snowed down to the polished wooden surface again. Robin held the ring towards it, but the paper remained lying still. "It stopped working. What's gone wrong?" "You must rub the ring each time." "No, not on your shorts. On my scarf. It must be silk." Robin rubbed the ring, and again the little white shreds flew up and embraced the ring. He held it in the air. Presently the shreds fell off, one by one. The magic doesn't last. What is it? Silk and amber, they make electricity. That attracts the paper. Silk and amber. It sounded rich. Kings were dressed in silk and amber. Eastern merchants sent presents of silk and amber to their haughty emperors. A princess might find an amber ring at the bottom of a pool in the deep forest. When she rubbed it, a genie appeared to do her commands. When she turned it, she became invisible. When she told it her wishes, they came true. May I keep it? Just for a little while? Let's see if it fits one of your fingers. Not if it doesn't. It could so easily get lost. It fitted Robin's mother's fourth finger on the left hand. It was only a little loose on the first finger of Robin's right hand. Wear it for an hour, until it's time for bed, his mother said. You look like a prince, with a big ring on your first finger. Alone with the ring, Robin wished he was in an eastern palace. He wished he was the eldest. He rubbed the ring with his best silk tie. He turned it on his finger, and he hoped he was invisible. But he was not in an eastern palace. He was in his own bedroom. And when he went downstairs, he was not invisible. Jonathan and Miranda saw him, and he saw them. Still older, bigger, cleverer, better at everything than he was. What on earth have you got Mother's ring for? Miranda asked. It's amber. It picks up crumbs of paper all by itself when you rub it with a silk handkerchief. Amber and silk, said Robin. Oh, I know. Static electricity, Jonathan said. Why electricity? Like the light and electric fires? Robin asked. Oh, you wouldn't understand. You're too little. I'm not. Don't cry about it, silly. You'll learn about it when you're older. I am older, said Robin. But he knew this was stupid, and was not surprised when Jonathan said so. Make it pick up paper, then, Miranda said. But when she had seen it done, and tried it herself, she lost interest. And she and Jonathan went off to their grown-up homework and their older occupations. There was nothing that Robin could do that they wanted to know about. At bedtime, Robin gave the ring back to his mother. It might be full of mysterious electricity and make him look like a prince, but it was not magic. It could not help him. Robin, Chapter 3. The Magic Ointment. No magic carpet, no magic ring. The old-fashioned purse covered with steel beads which Robin's father had inherited from his grandmother, and which he kept in a corner of his desk, wasn't magic either. Robin borrowed it for a day to see, but when he had spent the sixpence he had put into it, no other sixpence came to take its place. The purse was left quite ordinarily empty. Robin returned the purse to the desk and thought again. Could cast a spell?" he asked his mother. "I don't know. Do you know how to begin?" "I never have," his mother said. "Could I try? Can I have some things to do it with?" "What will you need?" Robin mixed flour and water and made a paste. He coloured it pale green with his mother's cake icing colour bottle. He tasted it and added sugar. He put it into an empty cold cream jar and labelled it Magic Ointment. It looked very real. "Magic Ointment? What's this? Is it really magic, Mother?" Miranda asked. "Is it, Robin?" "Oh, it's just something Robin's made. Oh, it won't be any use," Miranda said. "It is magic," Robin said. "What does it do, then?" "If you eat it and wish, your wish comes true." "It looks horrible." "Magic ointments can't taste nice. If they did, they wouldn't be magic." "Have you tried it?" "I tasted it, but I haven't wished. You try." "No, thank you. I don't want to be poisoned." "It isn't poison. Mother, you try." Don't give me too much," Robin's mother said. "What will you wish?" Miranda asked. "I wish I could hear from Granny about whether she's coming to stay next month." "You mustn't tell your wish," Robin said quickly. "Oh dear, too late. Now perhaps it won't come true." "It won't anyway," Miranda said. But when the afternoon post arrived, there was a letter from Robin's granny announcing that she would like to visit them in June. "You see," Robin said, "it is a magic ointment. If you hadn't wished, you wouldn't have got the letter." "Nonsense! Granny wrote it yesterday," Jonathan said. "The ointment couldn't have made any difference." "That's not how magic works. You can't count backwards and say when it started. It happens, that's all." "It wasn't magic. It was a coincidence," Jonathan said. "I don't know what that is, but it wasn't." After tea, when Jonathan had gone upstairs, Miranda said, "I'll eat some of your old ointment if you like, Robin." "I don't especially want you to," Robin said proudly. "Oh, I thought you did." "Well, I will." "Do you really want to?" "I'd quite like to try." "Really, truly?" "Yes. Only don't tell Jonathan." Robin handed her the jar. "Oh, it is horrible. What on earth is it made of, Robin?" "That's a secret. Have you wished?" "Yes." Robin waited. Then he said, "Has it come true?" "I shan't know till tomorrow." "Tell me when you do know." "All right," Miranda said, "but I don't suppose it will." She left the room. Robin took a spoonful of the ointment. It was thick and pasty, and the sugar had not improved it. He had to swallow a great many times as he wished. He wished he could fly. He felt an itch in his shoulder blades. He felt with his hand as well as he could, but no wings seemed to have sprouted. However, real magic wouldn't need wings. He jumped cautiously to see if the jump would turn into a lovely soaring flight. But he reached the ground just as soon as usual. "Perhaps it takes getting used to. I'll try on the stairs," Robin said. There was no one in the hall. Robin went up 4 stairs and let go. He landed safely enough, but heavily on the floor behind the lowest step. "Oh, I don't think I flew," he said. "I'll try again." He went up 5 stairs this time and sprang. "I believe I did stay in the air a bit that time," he thought. He went up 6 stairs Even Jonathan could only just jump down 6 stairs. It seemed a very long way above the ground. Robin hesitated. "I'll have to be brave. The magic can't work unless I give it a proper chance," he said. He jumped. The hall floor flew up to meet him. "Have you hurt yourself? What on earth are you doing?" Robin's mother called out. I think I've broken my ankle." "Oh, Robin, you jumped too many stairs." No, it's not broken, but I expect you've sprained it. Oh, don't cry, Robin. It'll be better soon." "I'm not crying because of my ankle. Well, only partly because it's that I can't fly." "Oh, dear. Well, until you can, you mustn't jump so far." "Is it magic?" Robin wondered. "Perhaps it will work tomorrow. Perhaps if the magic hadn't been there, my ankle would have broken. Perhaps, really, I did fly a little." Chapter 4. No Magic. But the next day the ankle was more swollen, and Robin could not fly. He couldn't even walk very well. The doctor bound it up in a crepe bandage and said he must keep it up for a day or 2. "No school till after the weekend," he said. "No school?" Miranda said. "You are lucky." "No school?" Jonathan asked. "Oh, I expect you did it on purpose." I didn't, Robin said. "I bet you did, so as not to have to go to school on Friday." "Why on Friday?" asked Robin's mother. "Because that's when the little ones have their first swimming lesson. Robin's afraid." "I'm not particularly." "Anyone might be a little frightened at first. You were, Jonathan." "That was because that silly ass pushed me into the deep end. I nearly drowned." "And Miranda can't swim yet?" "I can. 6 strokes. Miss Barbaris says this term I'll be able to do a whole length if I practice." "Perhaps I'll learn quicker than you did," Robin said. "You won't. Why should you? You've never done anything quicker than us." "I just might." "You won't." "Perhaps I will." "By magic, I suppose," Miranda said unkindly. "Like your silly ointment. I expect you think that's going to make you swim." "No, I don't. And it isn't silly." "It is. It didn't work at all. My wish didn't come true. You're a baby to believe in magic." "I'm not." "Yes, you are. Oh, now you're going to cry. Cry, baby." "Miranda, stop teasing," Robin's mother said. "But, Mother, he's so silly. I didn't believe in magic when I was his age." "That may have been silly of you." "Why? You don't believe in magic, do you, Mother? You don't think Robin might suddenly see a fairy or make a really magic ointment or anything, do you?" "I don't know what Robin might not do." "But not magic. Mother, not magic." "Even magic. I wouldn't be surprised," Robin's mother said. Robin, Chapter 5. The Strand. "What are you going to do this afternoon?" Robin's mother asked at lunch on Friday. "What are you?" "I must write some letters. We can't go out very far because of your ankle. We'll have tea in the garden. It's warm and fine. I'll go down to the beach. Can you walk there quite comfortably? Yes, my ankle's much better. I could have gone to school today after all. You'll be better on the beach. Where should you go? Just down to the deep pool and on the rocks. Very well. Try not to fall in. And if you do, come home and change. Remember, the tide turns at about 3. Don't go out too far and get cut off. Come back to tea. I'll ring the bell, said Robin's mother. It was a golden afternoon. The furze bushes on the stretch of cliff between Robin's house and the sea were bright with yellow flowers, smelling strongly of coconut. The path worn through the longer grass by Jonathan's, Miranda's and Robin's feet was spread with fat, wide-open white daisies, sunbathing. At the edge of the cliff were clumps of sea pinks, and below them stretched the golden shore, smooth, firm sand bordered by rocks. Up near the cliff, above the reach of all but the highest tides, the rocks were very black and sharp and bare, and the pools among them were green and scrummy, half rain-water, uninviting. Further down, the pools became clear, empty, uninhabited lakes reflecting the blue sky. The rocks here were smoother, greyer, with a sprinkling of limpet shells. Right down by the sea's edge, as far as one could walk at a low tide like this one, Robin knew that the bare rock surface hardly showed between colonies of navy blue mussels, forests of brown seaweed, the pale frosting of barnacles. There the pools were often lined with pink, only a little less bright than the sea-pink flowers on the cliffs. They were thickly populated pools where shrimps floated like ghosts, transparent in the water. Dark anemones grew in clusters like flowers, and quite sizable fish darted to their hiding places in miniature caves or hid under a seaweed frond as your shadow fell across their world. Robin took off his shoes. His feet during the winter months had become soft and tender, and hurt as they went over the jagged black rocks beyond the daily scouring of the waves. But they had not forgotten the feel of the ground beneath them, and without Robin's head having to think about it, they chose this ledge, that smoother landing place after a jump, this foothold, that step. They led Robin down to the place where it was possible to jump down onto the sand without falling into a pool, and down past the deep pool and the sheltered undressing place to the edge of the sea. 5 seagulls walked away from Robin with hurried but stately steps, leaving triangular footmarks on the sand beneath them. Robin stood ankle deep in cool, foamy water and let the waves slap against his calves. The breakers were big today. Huge green mountains reared up out of the sea till they were 8, 10, 12 feet tall. Then they pitched forward and broke in a thick line of white foam and came roaring into land. By the time they reached the shallows where Robin stood, they were gentle, playful little waves, which ran up the beach and down again, or suddenly veered sideways, harmless, without any force. The sea water is magic. It is mending my ankle. If I stand here while 10 waves break, my ankle will be quite well, said Robin. It certainly felt much better after the 10th wave, but it was cold magic. Robin walked up the beach again, visiting his favourite rocks and pools. Every year the sand shifted, hiding old landmarks and uncovering new ones. The big, shallow pool, which ran up a sort of creek between two arms of rock, in which tiny children could safely bathe, had shrunk this spring to a disappointingly narrow trickle of water. A newborn baby could hardly have got wet in it. On the other hand, the great iron framework of the ship, which had been wrecked on the middle of the beach 50 years ago, stuck up now higher than Robin's head above the sand. Robin only half liked those twisted, rusty girders. They looked uncomfortably like the bones of some enormous animal. He felt he ought to be excited by the remains of the wreck. Jonathan and Miranda had once embarked on a project of digging below them to find the treasure which the ship must have carried. They had not succeeded, but at any rate they hadn't been afraid. Robin kept his distance from the wreck when, as now, he was alone on the beach. He found a pink pool with fringes of light brown seaweed and tried to catch a shrimp in his hands. It wasn't impossible if you remembered their sudden backward movements when they were faced with danger. He caught two dark, solid fishes with sad expressions, which allowed themselves to be scooped out of crevices in the rock without much difficulty. One bit his finger. Robin put them both into a different, much smaller pool, which had no secret hiding places and no seaweed, so they couldn't escape. The bigger and fiercer of the two he called Gagarin. The other was Commander Alan Shepherd. He thought he would try to tame them, but they didn't seem to hear him calling them, and he had no food with which to persuade them to love and obey him, except some dusty crumbs in the seams of his shorts pockets, which were soon exhausted. He tried to make them swim through the ring made by his thumb and forefinger, held invitingly before them, but they preferred to go in any other direction. Commander Alan Shepherd did oblige once, but only because it was the speediest way of escaping from Gagarin, who was approaching him threateningly from behind. "It's no good," Robin said aloud. "Come on, spacemen. You aren't fit for life on another planet yet. You'll have to go back where you came from." He put them back in a big seaweedy pool. Major Gagarin bit him again. Robin stood up. A little brown and white bird, like an egg on neat running legs, flew off onto the sand from the rock just below him. It turned its head and looked at him and uttered a shrill peep-peep, as if to make sure it had his attention. It ran a little way along the beach, looked back and said peep-peep again. Because he had finished with the pool and had nothing else to do, Robin followed it. He walked, and it ran. It led him back to the edge of the sea, where the sand was wet, and reflected blue sky and clouds, and the white underneath and twinkling legs of the little brown bird. "Oh, it's a magic bird. It's going to lead me to buried treasure," Robin thought. "In a moment it will speak to me, and will teach me how to fly." The bird looked over its shoulder again, but it didn't speak Robin's language. It said beep beep for the third time, and at that moment, it seemed to Robin, the tide turned. A bigger wave came up past its companions and washed against the bird's legs. The bird, surprised, spread its wings and flew away up the beach towards the cliff. The waves sucked back, leaving a newly smoothed, shining expanse of sand in the middle of it, just where the bird had been standing. Robin saw a shell. Chapter 6. the shell. It wasn't quite like any shell Robin had ever seen before. It was rather the shape of the little cowrie shells that Miranda had often found among the pebblier parts of the shore. But the biggest of them was under half an inch long, and this was about the size of Robin's fist. It was humped like a cowrie, and a brownish pink like a cowrie, and outside it was engraved with fine ribbings like a cowrie. But inside, where a cowrie has a narrow slit-like opening which is generally blocked with grains of sand, this shell had a wider mouth, towards which the colour on the back faded, so that the lips were pale brown, almost white. Right inside, the colour flushed again to a deep, true pink. It lay, glistening on its side in the sand. Robin picked it up. It fitted into the curve of his fingers and palm, as if it had been made for him. It was cool, but not cold. It had a comfortable sort of feeling, like a piece of well-turned wood, close-knit, compact, friendly. What is the first thing you would do with a bigger shell? That is what Robin did. At first he thought he heard nothing. The rustle and the beat that sounded in his ear seemed to come from the real waves that were breaking 30 feet out from where he stood. He held the shell a little away from him, and as he did so, the wind blew between his cheek and the shell's mouth, ruffling his hair. Then he heard it. He heard the boom of bigger breakers that were rolling in towards him from the Atlantic Ocean. He heard the slap of little crisp waves against the bow of a fast-running ship. He heard the soft lap-lap of the lazy little waves that prance on the tideless seas in the south. He heard the crack of ice in the cold northern seas in the summer, when the ice floes separate and move under the Arctic sun. He heard ropes strain and wooden masts creak and groan, and the crack of the schooner's sails as she turned smartly into the wind. He heard seagulls cry, and the small sad call of the kittiwake, and the song of sailors heaving up the anchor cable. And far, far away, lost in distance or in time, the murmuring rhythm of the galley slaves, who chained beneath the deck, rowed the high-built ships of their conquerors across the wine-dark sea. Robin took the shell away from his ear and looked at it again. He felt confused, a little giddy with all he had heard. "You must be enchanted. Are you enchanted?" he asked. But the shell made no reply. It lay confidently in Robin's hand. The wind blew across its lips again, sounding a faint, hollow, reedy note like a sigh. Robin lifted the shell again and listened. This time, the boom and the excitement and the tumble of the surf were gone. He heard the whisper of foam dissolving on the wet sand. He heard water welling up under rocky ledges and the gasp of the stranded fish as it was gathered back into the huge wet sea. He heard the tiny of colonies of barnacles receiving the first incoming wave of the flowing tide after a hot, dry day in the sun. He heard the dive of the gannet, the patter of the oyster catcher's feet, the unfolding of the anemone. Each sound was so quiet, he had to strain his ear to hear. And when it was gone, he could not be sure if he had really caught it. It murmured on, like a song, not speaking to him, but for him to hear. It was like hearing the sea singing to itself. Robin, Chapter 7. The Freedom of the Sea. Jonathan was in a good temper at tea. He had been made captain of his form's cricket 11, and he was glowing with pride and generosity. He said agreeably to Robin, "What have you been doing?" "This morning I rode my bicycle in the garden, and this afternoon I went down to the sea." "Where?" "Dipper's Cove." "Anything interesting?" "The baby's bathing pool is all sanded up. I caught 2 fish, but I put them back again. One of them bit me." "Did you fall into any pools?" "No, of course not. I'm not a baby." "I fell in last year," Jonathan said. This proved that it was not only babies who fell into pools. "Is that all?" "No. I found something." "What? A glass ball?" "A fountain pen," asked Miranda, who had once found one herself on the beach. "No, a shell." "I thought you meant something interesting. Dipper's Cove is covered with shells." "Not like this one." "Let's see," Jonathan said. But he didn't sound as if he wanted to see, only as if he didn't want to sound unkind. "Robin, it's enormous," Miranda said. "I say, it is rather a whopper. What kind is it, Mother?" "I don't know. I can't find anything like it in my book. I don't think it can be an English one. It must have come from abroad, possibly from the tropics." "Can I hold it?" Miranda asked. She turned it over lovingly in her hands. "It's beautiful, Robin. What are you going to do with it?" "I shall keep it." "I've got lots of cowries, Robin. They're awfully nice to use as counters. Wouldn't you rather have 20 cowries than just one big shell?" "No," Robin said. "I'd exchange 30 cowries for that shell." "No, I wouldn't, if you said 100. "Does it make a nice noise?" Jonathan asked. "You know you're supposed to be able to hear the sea if you listen into a shell. Let me." He stretched out his hand. "No!" cried Robin. "Why on earth not? You let Miranda look at it. It's mine. I shan't hurt it, silly. I only want to listen to it." He took the shell. Robin couldn't stop him. He held it to his ear and laughed. "It's always the same sort of roar. I suppose you could imagine it was waves or something." He handed the shell back to Robin. "All the same, it's a frightfully good specimen. I wonder if there'll be any more." "There aren't. This is the only one," Robin said. "How can you possibly know? There may be some special sort of wind and tide or something that brought it from wherever it comes from, and that'll bring others." I don't believe it. This is a special shell. You don't know anything about it. You don't even know what it's called. I do. How can you? Mother said she didn't know what kind it was. I didn't say I knew what kind it was. I said I knew what it was called. What? Robin opened his mouth to say that his shell was called the Dipper's Cove Monster. But these were not the words that came out. It's called the Freedom of the Seas, he said. Chapter 8. Magic at Work. It was a fine, hot weekend. The children bathed for the first time that year, a short bathe in a surprisingly cold sea. Their parents basked on the beach in the sun and hurried them out of the icy water. Jonathan, you must come in. You're blue with cold. Doesn't take me long to get warm again. Miranda, Robin. Goodness, you will have to play pig in the middle after this. Oh, Miranda, you're shivering. Get dressed quickly. Robin, aren't you frozen? No, Robin said. I'm not cold. Nobody took any notice of this remark. One or other of the children always said it, with chattering teeth between blue lips after a bathe. Only Robin noticed with surprise that it was true. He usually had to come out of the water before the others because it was too uncomfortable to stay chilled any longer. This time he hadn't. Now run and get warm. Won't you come and play, Mother? Father, won't you come and play cricket? I don't need to get warm, thank you. I'm a very agreeable temperature as I am. Oh, but do come. There's no one to field properly if you won't play. I can field, Robin said. You can't run fast enough. And you don't throw the ball in straight. I do. Well, anyhow, it's better if Father plays too. I'll do, Father, won't you? Very well, for a short time. In virtue of being the youngest, Robin was sent in to bat first. He missed 2 balls, hit one and made a run, hit another with new confidence, and was caught by Miranda. She took the bat, and Robin went off gloomily to field. Miranda was an enthusiastic but wild batswoman. Her first stroke dribbled the ball along the ground to her father's fingers. The second flew high over Robin's head. He jumped, knowing this would be expected of him, but he could only have caught it if he had been 10 feet tall. Now I shall have to run miles, he thought. But the ball, dropping just before him as he started to run, fell into a small, almost invisible pool in the sand, spun round and lay at his feet. He picked it up and threw it to Jonathan. Miranda, counting on a powerful stroke to give her at least 3 runs, only just made her second without being run out. Jolly good, Jonathan said. Nice work in the field there, Robin's father said. The game went on. The sun was hot, and Jonathan and Miranda looked pink again instead of blue. Robin batted for the second time and made 3 runs before he was bowled. Miranda had made 11, Jonathan 21, Robin's father 8. Robin's turn of bowling was a short one. The balls that came from his hand were too slow and too easy. Miranda made most of her runs from them. Still, your fielding's much better, I must say, Jonathan said, glorious in his triumph. It's the running I get tired of. Today the ball always seemed to fall into a pool, Robin said. Anyway, let's stop. I want tea. I'm ravenous. I'll unpack, Robin's mother said. getting the basket of food from under the shade of a rock. "Don't let's have tea on the beach," Robin said. "We'd better go home." "What on earth for?" Miranda asked. "Don't you feel well, Robin?" his mother asked. "He's frightened of wasps," Jonathan said, not unkindly. "Why, Robin, why?" his father asked. "There's going to be a storm," Robin said. He hadn't known he was going to say it. He hadn't known he had been going to suggest not having tea on the beach. But now he heard his own words. He knew that they were true. "Storm? Nonsense," Jonathan said. "Look at the sun. There isn't a cloud in the sky," Robin's mother said. "As a matter of fact, there is. Over there, right over the horizon, but miles away. And no wind. The weather forecast didn't mention storms. What makes you think there's going to be a storm, Robin?" "I don't think. I just feel as if there's going to be one." "Robin's frightened of storms," Miranda said. "I'm not." "You don't like thunderstorms?" "Well, lots of people don't. I don't mind them if I'm indoors and it's daylight and there are other people." "It seems a pity to have packed all the tea and then to take it home again. Are you uncomfortable about it, Robin? Shall I go home with you, or will you stay here with us?" "I don't mind, but there is going to be a storm," Robin said. "Then I'll unpack," his mother said. "Sandwich, Jonathan? Sandwich, Miranda? Sandwich? Oh, I forgot you don't like tomato. Egg sandwich, Robin?" "You know," Robin's father said a minute or two later, "that cloud is coming up very fast over the sea." Robin's mother looked at it and said, "Oh, it's absolutely black. Perhaps it is going to rain." "Let's finish tea and then we can go up to the house." "Is there another cucumber sandwich?" "Can I have a piece of cake?" "What's the matter, Miranda?" her mother asked. "Oh, nothing. I think I'll put on my cardigan." "It is colder," Robin's mother said. "There's more wind, but the sun's still shining," Robin's father said. But as he spoke, the bright sunlight and the dark shadows began to disappear. Starting at the far end of the beach, the sharp outlines of the shadows grew dim. The golden light faded. The shadow of the cloud moved towards them across the sand, reached them, and passed swiftly onto the cliff. "Perhaps we'd better go home," Robin's mother said. "That sort of purplish haze over the sea looks like rain," her husband said. "Listen," Miranda said. "What?" "Listen!" The thunderstorm reached the cove before Robin and his family had quite got home. It was very wet and rather frightening. They had to change all their clothes, and what was left of the tea was uneatable. "But how did you know there was going to be a storm, Robin?" his father asked. "Lucky guess," Jonathan said. "He wasn't. I knew. It felt like a storm." "Did you see the cloud before we did? Or hear thunder?" "No." "Robin, there's something enormous in the pocket of the shorts you've just changed out of. I do wish you wouldn't keep these vast great things in your pockets," Robin's mother called out. Robin went into the kitchen, where his mother was hanging up the soaked clothes. "What on earth is it? I can't get it out." "Oh, it's the shell you found the day before yesterday. Must you keep it in your pocket, Robin?" "Yes. It has to go wherever I go." "Why?" "It feels nice," Robin said. He took the freedom of the seas from his mother's hand and left the room. Robin, Chapter 9. Swimming. "I can almost swim," Robin said next Friday at tea. "You can't. Nonsense. Nobody could swim in one lesson," Miranda said. "Mr. Tillotson said I hardly needed him. I floated," Robin said. "Without holding on to anything?" "I don't believe you," Jonathan said. "I did. Ask Mr. Tillotson." "I never see him. He only teaches the babies. Anyway, I wouldn't." "All right, I'll show you." "When?" "Next time we bathe on the beach." "Mother, can we bathe tomorrow?" "If it gets warmer, we'll see," Robin's mother said. "Robin boasts about things he can't do." "That's because he's a baby," Miranda said. "I don't. I'm not. I can almost swim." "You'd better do some magic to make it cold tomorrow, Robin. If it's warm enough to bathe, we shall just see what a liar you are." "I'm not a liar." "I'll do magic to make it warm and just show you." "Where are you going, Robin?" his mother asked. "Outside into the garden. I'll be back soon." Robin climbed the wall at the end of the garden, which led onto the cliff. The sea lay before him, grey and white, cold, huge, never still. It sounded angry, but not threatening. Robin took a Freedom of the Seas out of his pocket. "Can I do magic?" he asked it. "Are you magic? What do I do next?" The Freedom of the Seas lay in his hand. It looked dull, even a little dusty. Robin's pockets were apt to collect fluff, crumbs, sticky bits of toffee, and chewing gum. "You need washing," Robin said. "I shall wash you in a pool." It took him 5 minutes to get down to the beach. He laid the Freedom of the Seas in a clear rock. When he took it out, it sparkled and shone. A little river of water ran out of its mouth and splashed back into the pool. "Make it fine tomorrow. Make it warm and sunny. Do magic," Robin urged. When he got back to the house, his mother was cross. "Where have you been? Miranda and I looked all over the garden for you." "You said you were only going into the garden, Robin," she said. "I'm sorry, I forgot. I just went down onto the beach." "You should have told me." "Mother, I'm perfectly safe. I often go onto the beach alone." "Well, I like to know where you are. Suppose you fell over the cliff or into the deep pool." "If I fell into the deep pool, I should swim." "Oh, Robin." The wind dropped in the night, and the sky cleared. Saturday was hot and fine. Was it magic? Had the Freedom of the Seas made it happen? Or was it just an ordinary change in the weather? Robin couldn't decide. "This afternoon we'll bathe," Jonathan said, looking at Robin. "The tide will be high this afternoon," Robin said. "You see, he's trying to get out of it." "Very well, this morning then, before lunch. We may, mayn't we, Mother?" "Yes, if it stays fine." It's going to be. It's going to be hot. Then we'll see Robin doing his swimming act." "Ready, Robin?" "I only said I could almost swim." "With one foot on the ground all the time, I suppose." "Don't bicker," their mother said. "Well, Mother, how could he possibly swim after one lesson?" "They say if you throw a newborn baby into deep water, it swims by instinct. But I never like to try," Robin's mother said. "We'll try with Robin. He often behaves like a baby. I wouldn't mind trying," Jonathan said. Fear crept into Robin's heart. Suppose, after all, he couldn't swim. It had only been a moment in the swimming bath when he had floated. In another moment, without the bar or Mr. Tillotsson's hand, he might have sunk. He felt in his pocket, and his fingers curled round the shell. "Keep me safe," Robin asked silently. "Help me to swim." It was hot on the beach. Jonathan and Miranda went from pool to pool, discussing which should be the scene of Robin's trial. The baby swimming pool was too small, and there were too many waves at the edge of the sea. "We ought to put him in deep water," Jonathan said, "on the edge of the deep swimming pool. Otherwise he'll cheat." "I wouldn't cheat." "Mother wouldn't let us. Besides, if he sank to the bottom, how would we get him out?" "I should have to dive down and get him," Jonathan said carelessly. "You can't dive." "I can dive as much as Robin can swim." "Dive into the pool then," Robin said. "I said as much as you can swim." "Why don't you believe me? I did nearly swim in the baths." "You don't know what proper swimming feels like. Of course you can't swim. You won't be able to for ages." "Oh, come on, Miranda. We'll find a nice, safe, sandy pool for baby to practice in." "I don't want a sandy pool. I can swim here." "Come on, Robin. Mother's calling. Hurry up." Jonathan pushed Robin. It meant to push him back towards the sand. Robin's foot, on a piece of damp seaweed, slipped. He caught at the air, lost his balance, and fell in. The deep swimming pool was very deep. Deep enough to dive into. Big enough for Father to swim about in. Robin went straight down to the sand at the bottom. He had not had time to take a breath before he sank. The water pressed against his eyes and blinded him, filled his ears and deafened him, filled his mouth and nose and choked him. He was terrified and fought. He felt he would never come up, never take another breath of air, never see the sky again. But even as he sank, before he had reached the bottom of the pool, he remembered what the shell had whispered to him, and he stopped fighting. He lay on the water, and the water held him up. He rose like a cork to the surface, spluttered, coughed up a throatful of salt sea water, took a deep breath of salt sea air, and struck out for the edge of the pool. It was 6 strokes away. Between the dog paddle and the movements he had learned the day before, he made it. Jonathan pulled him out. "I say, Robin, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to push you in. Are you all right?" "I swam," Robin said. "You're sopping. Mother will be furious with both of you," Miranda said. "I was just going to jump in and pull you out." "I swam. Didn't you see?" Robin said. "Yes." "I did swim, didn't I?" "Yes. Sort of, yes. I suppose you did." "Robin, do come. Mother's calling. You'll have to let her see you." "Tell her I swam, Miranda." "Don't say I pushed him, Miranda. It was an accident, wasn't it, Robin?" "I slipped. But when I was in, I swam. I almost dived in," Robin said. "It was jolly good," Jonathan said. "Robin, what on earth has happened?" "Jonathan, what happened?" Robin's mother asked. "I slipped on the edge of the deep swimming pool. Jonathan would have come in to save me, but I swam by myself," Robin said. "It's true, Mother. You really can swim." Chapter 10. Seeing Seals. It was a summer like most other English summers. There were cool, wet, windy days when everything in the garden dripped and the sand on the beach was rough and pitted with rain. And there were sunny, splendid blue and gold days, when the children could bask in the sea for an hour or two after school without getting cold. The days, whether hot or cold, passed quickly. Robin's grandmother came to stay. Miranda had a poisoned thumb. Jonathan was picked as 12th man for the school cricket team. Robin swam a length in the baths and jumped in from the second highest diving board. The strawberries ripened. Robin's father had a birthday. Jonathan was hit by a ball and collected a most enviable black eye. The sea pinks on the cliffs faded and turned brown. The hedges thickened and threw starry trails of wild pink roses up into the air and out towards the roads. Miranda was highly commended for writing the best essay in the form on What I Don't Want to Be When I Grow Up. Jonathan was hit on the knee by a cricket stump, unfortunately wielded by a friend, and had a swelling as large as an egg. It rained for a week at half-term. Everybody was very cross. Robin learned to duck dive. His grandmother saw a family of hedgehogs in the garden, and Miranda put saucers of milk out for them every night. But whether the hedgehogs drank it or the cat, nobody could tell. The strawberry season was at its best. Robin ate far too many and came out in a horribly tickling rash. Jonathan caught his finger in a locker door in the changing rooms, and his nail turned black. In spite of this, he attended a school match and was called upon to play when Trethowan Minor did not turn up. He was the last batsman in and made one run before his colleague was bowled. It was a day of glory and rejoicing, only overshadowed by the fact that Robin's grandmother was just about to leave them and go home again. "You'll come again next year," they said. "Yes, if you'll have me. I haven't seen a single chuff, and I know there must be some round here. I shall come next year just for that." "Anything else we can provide?" Robin's father asked. "All sorts of things. I haven't succeeded in spotting a red start, although I know I heard one. And the only trapdoor spider I found wouldn't open her door." "You do know a lot about spiders, Granny," Robin said. "Beastly things. I hate them," Miranda said. "That's because you don't understand them. Really, they're fascinating. If you knew more about them, you wouldn't be frightened." "We'll save up all Miranda's spiders for you next year," Jonathan said. "I've got a going-away present for you. I'm keeping it till tomorrow," Miranda said. "Oh, you don't need to give me anything, Miranda. I want to." "What can I give Granny?" Robin wondered. He said, "What do you want most in the world?" "To see a couple of seals, close to. Not just a head right out at sea. On the rocks or the beach." "We'll go to Pentyre tomorrow for your last day. There are always seals there," Robin's mother said. "On the beach?" "No, but we might be lucky." "Is Pentyre the headland with the enormous cave, Mother?" "Can we climb right through it, with a torch this time?" "If it's fine, if the tide is low." "Will it be fine tomorrow?" Robin asked the freedom of the seas that night. But the shell did not answer. "Could I get seals to come up onto the beach for Granny to see?" The shell did not answer. Robin held it to his ear. He heard the little waves breaking on his own familiar sandy beach, and the reverberating roar of bigger waves filling up a cave with two entrances, one towards the land and one towards the sea. And then, behind, above the waves, he heard a song. It had no words. Its rhythm was the rhythm of the waves. Its tune was the calling of birds and the whistling of the wind. Robin listened, enchanted. It was strange and yet deeply familiar. He felt as if he had known this song all his life. "No seals," said Robin's grandmother sadly, on the Pentire headland the next afternoon. "Oh, don't despair. We may yet see one," Robin's father said. "At low tide? Not very likely. I shall have to go back to London a disappointed old woman." "You've got the bag I made you," Miranda reminded her. "Oh, so I have. And that will comfort me very much. And my toffee. And Jonathan's toffee. And Robin's nest." "It's not a robin's nest, it's a swallow's." "No, I mean, Robin gave it to me." "It's a silly sort of present," Robin said. "I like it very much." "You'd rather have seen a real live seal?" "I couldn't take a seal back to London." "I wish you could see one this afternoon." "Robin's a baby. He thinks he could do magic and make a seal come to Pentire for you," Miranda said. "I'm not a baby." "I wish you could enchant a seal," Robin's grandmother said. "They say seals like the sound of the human voice. Sing to them," Robin's father said. Jonathan and Miranda sang. "Please, not different tunes at the same moment. Miranda, must you sing John Brown's Body? I don't like it, and I'm sure the seals won't either." "They're all swimming out to sea as hard as they can to get away from Miranda's voice," Jonathan said. "Robin, you sing." "What shall I sing?" "Anything except John Brown." "Over the sea to sky?" "That would be very suitable." But Robin's song wasn't over the sea to sky. He meant it to be, but it came out differently. He sang a song he hadn't known he knew, with no words and a tune he had never heard. But as so often happens when you sing something you know by feeling rather than by thinking, his voice had no difficulty in producing the right sounds. When the song reached its end, his voice stopped. The others hadn't been singing for some time. "That's a nice song. Did you learn it at school?" his mother asked. "It's a different tune to the sky boat song from the one I knew," his grandmother said. "Have you forgotten the words?" "It doesn't have any." "Silly! Of course it has words. All songs have words." "Never mind. It was a very nice song. Don't bully Miranda." "Anyway, I bet the seals won't come in to hear that. Look, there isn't a single She stopped in the middle of a sentence. Then she said in quite a different voice, "There is something out there." "Where?" "Just beyond that wave breaking now. Something dark." "Oh yes, I see it. It might be... Oh bother, it's gone." Everyone was standing up and looking. "There it is again, look! Where the wave curls over as it breaks." "There are two of them, look! Another further along. They are seals. They're playing with each other. Oh, I've never seen them so close in before." "Can you see them, Mother?" "Splendidly, thank you. Now, I really feel I've seen something I shall never forget." You've had your money's worth? Indeed I have. Oh, they're going out to sea. The two dark heads and glistening, curving, brown bodies were getting smaller. They dived through the breakers. Their long noses turned this way and that, disappeared, reappeared a minute later, much further away. Presently, they were gone. Well, Robin, I wonder if they came to hear you sing. It was magic, wasn't it, Robin? Miranda asked unkindly. You can call it magic if you like, Robin said. I'm not such a baby. It's you that believes in magic. The seals came for Granny to see. That's the important thing. Now, time to pack up and go home. Fetch your bathing cap, Miranda. Jonathan, will you pack the rucksack? Robin, you will remember your jersey over there, won't you? Come on, everyone. We must go home. Back in the house, alone, Robin took the Freedom of the Seas out of his pocket and looked at it. You told me the song, he said, and the seals came to hear it. You made them come. Thank you. Robin, Chapter 11. The Gale. The storms that autumn were very bad. Almost every day the black cone was hoisted on the flagstaff near the Coast Guard's watchhouse to warn shipping of a gale. Enormous breakers hurled themselves on the beach, and every day the high tide line of sea drift was scattered with boughs of trees broken off by the wind, planks of wood, the bodies of birds who had perished in the violent weather, and fresh seaweed torn up from the deep rocks by the turbulence of the water. The wind whipped the foam on the waves into clots, which blew inland and covered the turf on the cliffs like great frothy flowers. Curtains rattled madly on their rings where chinks of windows were left open. A garage door was torn off its hinges, and a wooden shed in the garden of a hotel on the cliff was picked up in a minor hurricane and lifted over a hedge into a turnip field. The high tides were the biggest anyone had ever seen. Everyone agreed it was a terrible time. But Robin enjoyed it. He liked bathing in the enormous waves which knocked you down if you tried to stand up against them. He found if you went with them, they carried him up the beach as if they wanted to make sure he did not go too far out to sea. He liked watching them throw themselves against the granite cliffs, shooting spray 100 feet up into the air. He liked wandering along the beach at low tide, finding the strange things the sea carried up and left for him to collect. He liked lying in bed at night and listening to the roar of the surf on the shore. When the wind blew from the west, it was so loud that it was almost as if the waves were beating against the garden wall. On the night of the hurricane, when several slates blew off the roof and a pear tree lost all its fruit and most of its leaves, he was not frightened, though Miranda was terrified, and even Jonathan admitted that he wished the wind would drop. The next day was Sunday, and the wind had dropped a little. There was no longer a hurricane, but there was still a gale. When Robin reached the watch house on the headland, and he had to travel the last 50 yards creeping on hands and knees, the south storm cone was still flying. The sky was full of low, dark clouds, which now and then spilt a shower of stinging, icy rain over the cliffs and the sea, and blotted out everything more than a yard or two distant. The sea, when it reappeared, looked black and dangerous. Tossing, angry white horses dashed in towards the land and flung themselves against the rocks as if they would break the granite in a mountain of spray. A ship out there, Robin thought, would be having a very uncomfortable time. He climbed over the stone wall outside the Coast Guard's little roundhouse and knocked on the door. Williams, who was on duty, let him in. "I didn't think you'd be coming up this morning, Robin. A wild night we had. 5 tiles blew off our roof, and all the pears have fallen off the old tree." "You're the lucky ones, then. Mr. Penrose, over at Port Garriott, he's had his chimney stack fall through his roof, and only just missed the baby." "And the shed in the hotel garden jumped right over the hedge into Tregarian's field." "Old Mrs. Merrin, she left her sheets and towels hanging on the line last evening, and the whole lot of 'em's gone this morning. No one knows where." "My window rattled all night." "For sure it would. I did hear one of Mr. Gumphrey's cows blew over the cliff, but it may be nothing but a tale." "Will there be any wrecks, do you think?" "Well, I hope not, surely. The BBC, they gave a gale warning yesterday lunchtime, and the ships, when they hear that, they pull into shelter like." "If there was a ship getting wrecked out there now, how would you know?" "I'd see her, boy. That's what I'm here for, isn't it?" "But when it's raining, and you can't see, or at night?" "She'd send up lights, flares, a rocket, to signal she needed help like." "And then what would you do?" "Then I'd telephone over to the village and tell old Burrs at the public house there to send the boys up here quick as he can." "Yes, and then?" "Then I telephone the lifeboat over at Pentowan, and she sends round." "And what do the boys do?" "We shoot a lifeline down and pull up the men off the boat if we can. It's all fixed how we do it. Don't you worry, boy. Besides, ships has radios nowadays. A ship in trouble might radio a message out, and I'd get it on the telephone from Pentowan in no time." "But a radio might break down." "Not likely." "But it could." "Yes, it could. Oh, listen to that now. A real old gale this one is for sure. Blowing up again, it sounds to me. And then, how are you to get home?" "I'll crawl," Robin said. "You may have to. Stay there then, while I go and take a look outside." Robin stayed. He liked being alone in the little hut with its nautical-looking instruments. A telescope, a barometer, lamps for signalling, a chart, queer bundles of life-saving apparatus stacked against the walls. All round the hut, the ground fell away. Its windows commanded the wild sea. Robin felt as if he were on the bridge of a ship. The wind, whistling outside, gave the impression of movement. He felt in his pocket for the freedom of the seas. "We're steering through a blizzard in the middle of a mighty ocean. You keep me on the course," he said. But the freedom of the seas did not lie comfortably in his hand. If one could say such a thing about a shell which cannot move or speak or show any feeling, one would have said that it was fidgety. Robin held it in several different ways, but somehow it would not fit. It felt at the same time too heavy, too light, too warm, and too cold. "You're different," Robin said. "What's the matter?" The freedom of the seas did not answer. "Do you want to go back into my pocket?" Silence. "Do you want to go out into the wind?" No reply. Only the same anxious feeling, as if the shell were quivering. Robin felt as if he held in his hand a musical instrument which was trembling with a silent sound too large for it to contain, a vibration which might shatter the frame if it could not be stilled. "I'll listen to you," Robin said. At first, when he put the shell to his ear, he felt deafened. After the bluster of the gale outside the hut, it was frightening to hear so deep a silence. And the silence had an echo, a deep booming note below the threshold of hearing, a feeling in the eardrums rather than a sound. It was like the toll of a huge bell, a gigantic bell, a funeral bell, ringing slowly in the unfathomable depths of the cold dark sea, swung by the hardly perceptible movement of the deeps, which was the echo of the fury in the upper waters. "What's the matter, Robin boy? You look all amazed," William said, forcing the door shut again against the wind. It took all his strength. "Mr. Williams, I'm sure there's going to be a wreck." "You've been dreaming. There's no wreck hereabouts." "There's a ship in distress. Somewhere near. I know there is." "Now, Robin boy, how could that be? We haven't heard nothing on the telephone. There aren't no flares, no rockets or nothing." "Please, Mr. Williams, I do feel quite sure. Couldn't we do something?" "But what am I to do, me dear? It's for them to call us, don't you see? I can't go sending up rockets to tell them I'm here. They know that." "Couldn't I go out and look?" "There's nothing to be seen, me dear. Nothing at all. You can't see so much as the sea just now. Very poor visibility." "Couldn't you ring up the lifeboat and ask them to go out and look? Or get the life-saving people up here, just in case?" "Now I can't do that without something more to go on than just your saying it, can I, Robin boy? Be sensible, like. You've not slept well, along with this old wind blowing great guns round you all night. And you're tired out. You're fancying things like." "I'm not. Please, Mr. Williams." "What?" "Oh, suppose they're sending up a rocket this minute, and no one's there to see it." "Now, boy, calm down. There's nothing there." But in Robin's hand, the shell quivered and vibrated. He didn't need to hold it to his ear. "Danger," it said to his palm and his fingers. "Danger! Robin, danger!" it said. "Please, Mr. Williams, Mr. Williams, please." "Robin, boy, don't go crying. Come with me outside. We'll look." Outside, the wind had risen again. It was thunderous in the ears. Icy, spiked rain drove hard into their faces and made them blink. The edge of the headland, the cliffs and the sea were blotted out by the downpour. Robin couldn't see the waves, but he could hear them grinding on the rocks far below. William said something. "I can't hear." "What?" "I can't hear." Williams put his mouth right up against Robin's ear, and his breath was warm and tickled. "You say Nothing there! Listen! William was listening. Then he said, into Robin's ear again, "Wind and sea! Nothing else?" There was a sort of bang. Well, there's plenty of banging about in this wind. Listen again! The sharp rain ceased, and a cloud moved away. For a moment, the edge of the cliff and the dark, angry sea appeared. There was surely something darker, not far out, something more solid than the peaks of grey waves breaking up into white heads, building up into great, threatening, mountainous rollers. As Robin looked, something shot up out of the small, dark mass. A bright something which exploded in the overhanging sky in a burst of red light. A moment later, the whole picture was covered with mist again. It was as if a shrieking, stinging curtain had been pulled in front of a scene too painful to be viewed. "Williams!" "All right, Robin boy. Hey, sir! Back to the post. We've got to call help quickly if we're to save any of those poor souls." Chapter 12. After the storm. Robin was late for lunch, but so was everyone else. For when the news spread through the village that there was a ship sinking off the headland, everyone who was old enough to walk and young enough to get out at all was up on the headland wanting to help. The Pentowan lifeboat stood by as well as it could in crashing seas. A lifeline was shot by rocket from the cliff, and one by one 8 sodden, bruised, exhausted men were hauled to safety in a breeches buoy. The captain came last, as captains must, grim, speechless. His ship sank, they told me. She broke up on the jagged black rocks below the headland, and spars and small unexpected parts of her lay on the calm sunny beach for months afterwards. But every man was saved. A Dutch boat. Their radio broke down. They had no gale warning. If it hadn't been for the Trevose Coast Guards, they would all have been drowned, everyone said. The 8 men were put up in the village. Everyone contributed clean, dry clothes and food. The wind died down suddenly in the afternoon, and on Sunday evening Robin visited the Dutch captain, who was surprisingly wearing his father's ancient +4s and sports coat. Williams was there too. "Here's the boy. Sent me out to look for you," Williams said. "Please," said the captain. "This boy saved your life." "I thank him very good." "Oh, it wasn't me," said Robin, but he couldn't explain that he had done what he had because of the freedom of the seas, now lying quiet and peaceful in his hand. "You said there was a ship." "Must have heard the first rocket, young ears," Williams said, a heavy hand on Robin's shoulders. "Dutchmans, thank you all," the captain said. He held out his hand to Robin. Robin changed something from his right hand to his left and took the Dutch captain's hand. "What have you there?" "It's just a shell I found," Robin said. "It's very good shell. You like shell? I bring you much shell in another time," the captain said. He shook Robin's hand so tightly that it hurt. Robin was pleased, but embarrassed, and glad when they said goodbye. "Why did Williams take Robin to see the Dutch captain especially?" Jonathan asked. because Robin was up there with him when the flares went up. He says it was Robin made him go out and look, Robin's father said. Did you, Robin? Yes. Why? I sort of felt there was something happening. I thought there might be a wreck about. How? I'm not sure. Robin knows things about the sea, Robin's father said. I've noticed. He's weather-wise. Do you mean really? He knows things we don't know. Yes, knows about storms and seals and so on. He's the best swimmer of you all. And he's going to be the best diver too. I'd rather play cricket for England, Jonathan said. He wants to know about storms, said Miranda. It can be useful if you save 8 men's lives by knowing something. Did Robin save 8 men's lives? William says so. The Dutch captain thinks he did. Is it going to be fine tomorrow, Robin? Jonathan asked. Couldn't you teach me to know about storms and to save people and have shells sent to me by a captain? Miranda asked. I'll give you some of the shells. I don't want other shells. I only want the freedom of the seas, Robin answered. And it lay in his hand, smooth, beautiful, secure. He could listen to it, and it would tell him what he wanted to know. Magic? All the magic I need, said Robin.